2016 was a year marked by disruption, disorder, and division. A year in which it felt as if the very fabric of society was ripped in two, families, cities torn apart in different visions of the future. But in the cracks, we find a desire to heal wounds, to come together, to support one another. Stories of difference and division feel worn out. Instead, we look to what unites us, and there is a lot that does. And we look for a shared vision for the future, an inclusive aspiration. Some labels have felt outdated for quite some time now. Socioeconomic labels in particular feel hard to pin down.
I think now there's not really that much of a difference. Maybe before, like, you could clearly see the distinction between middle and working class.
I don't know whether it's money or whether it's like your background, your education, you know, like for me, it's a bit, the boundaries are a bit blurred.
I thought I was working class because I worked. I thought it was that simple.
You're business people if you're
well,
self-employed.
I am as well.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of everything, aren't I, really? I'm a business person. And working class. I'm a working businesswoman. And just about managing as well.
Other labels, like millennial, are increasingly questioned, especially by millennials themselves.
Slightly younger than
They'll be
us.
17 by now, won't they?
It's one of those things where it doesn't really define anybody.
And linking values to a particular group is also more likely to cloud our judgment.
Of all those ones that I showed you, which of those would you most identify with? Of all those stereotypes?
Hard-working family.
In fact, we share so much that across generations we increasingly relate to the same label and image. Homemakers and housewives are a thing of the past.
I'd say a dying breed.
Yeah.
More people have got to go to work through.
So they've got 1-2 jobs.
Yeah.
Homemakers, housewives,
And work.
One stereotype remains distinct: the metropolitan elite.
Don't see them.
Not here.
Not around here.
Not here. I'd think London. I think London kind of well-to-do, like.
Socialites.
Yeah.
We feel pulled apart by money and stereotypes, and this distances us from brands and advertising that portray lifestyles that are both unobtainable and undesirable.
Society today is disconnecting everybody so that you're almost creating your little groups of people.
But then when it comes to like voting, we'll try and get together,
yeah, and that's it. So a case of if we connected better, or if the media portrayed it a bit better, and they were getting us all back together rather than just at special times of the year.
It's always stereotypes. And particularly if you're talking like adverts and stuff like that, you've always got like, you know, like the sexy girl or the weedy guy or the, do you know what I mean? They're all
very pigeonholed.
Yeah.
It's like somebody who's Muslim, he's like super Muslim sort of thing. There's no sort of middle bit on it. They're either like 100% or like, you know, the same for like Catholics or Christians. It's the same. It's everyone's it's like a generic picture's been built up.
At a time when we are looking more to what unites us, our attempts to define and target people are taking us further from the truth.
I think that's what sort of pushes a lot of problems with kids and things, is they've got a sort of false image of what people actually are. You know, when you look at, they look at very crafted and created kind of landscapes. Even things now that are supposed to be about ordinary people become manufactured. Even ordinary is manufactured to look better than what it really is.
The media, advertising and brands feel like they are often out of step with our growing reality. We feel frustrated by what brands and advertisers suggest we should value. Frustrated at the images that we are sold. If we want to speak to our audiences, we need to reshape our understanding of them. We need to tune in to their real hopes and aspirations. We need to show that we understand the values and qualities that they admire today: graft, community, personality.
I read in the paper today about Idris Elba. He did this audition and like hundreds and hundreds of people turned up. And I thought it was quite amazing how, you know, he's obviously come from Hackney and you know, he's also nice to see that kind of community feel from someone who's in such a high celebrity.
The high street is really nice, and you've got a shop like Ollie's and Polly's, for example. And they're quite unique, bespoke shops, not branded shops. I think that's quite nice, and I think that's also quite nice with a lot of the pubs and the things you got here. They're not big branded ones like you have in the city. They got personalities.
Whilst we feel the media appeals to us as individuals, it is in fact our ability to help and support one another that we care about the most. Increasingly, people talk with pride about community, generosity, and small acts of helping one another.
I'm a socialist, but we have 2 UKIP councillors, and I work with them. And Fred across the road, did you see his van?
I saw the van.
Yeah, Fred, I was away in Spain for a fortnight, and Fred came across and watered my plants, and he has his UKIP and I have my Labour, and all the neighbours laugh. And yet we talk to one another and we joke about, I always call out, hello you nasty old UKIP man, and they say, oh, how's Jeremy?
We want to be known for our generosity and community spirit.
There's grass out the front of my house, even though it's not mine. I weed along the wall, do my neighbours as well. Still do the front, wash out the front and clean. My neighbours do it, and we just, I don't know, we all do it.
When we go out, we just pay for each other. We don't care about money, or you pay for me, I haven't got that money. We're not like that. We just, if you want to eat, you eat. I'll give you the money, it's not a problem. But it's like that with us.
Personal progress is increasingly difficult. We want to pull together and do the mending ourselves.
So somehow the rest of the world needs to come together and sort of discuss how we're going to get ourselves out of it as sort of everyday people.
I'm just going to the Thurrock Gazette because I've heard that they're giving away grants for community ideas, which is what I want to do. I want to set up a community centre, CAF, because there's nothing here. You know, I just want to go on my basic experiences and make it a better place for people to live.
A focus on shared values can bring communities together, even if their demographics and lifestyles seem different.
A few years ago it had a bad reputation. Penparky was like out there, whereas town people don't go up there. There's trouble up there all the time. The youth were running in packs and all this type of thing. But that's totally changed now. People want to come up here and live because of the community spirit we have up here now. The town are the ones that are jealous now. So it's, how can you say, it's one of them situations where we're doing a lot up here with the community and they are getting involved as well, which is a good thing.
I feel connected. To me, you know, it's not about where you come from, it's about my relationship with individuals.
In this country, the good thing is you can believe what you like. You can think whatever you like, as long as you're not hurting anyone. The freedom of speech, which in this country have.
The high street needs to be rejuvenated. It needs people to accept that we have a lot of immigrants. Come to Grays, let's have some immigrants, let's have some Polish shops.
It's not your title, it's about your actions that actually brings people. So it's more about your heart, so how you relate to people and genuine, because if you fake it, it's a matter of time before people will get to know who you really are. But if you're genuine in what you do, it reflects in your dealings with people, and people are always drawn to positive energy.
From the cracks of 2016, we find a desire to heal wounds, to come together, to support one another. Stories of difference and division feel worn out. Too much focus on the individual misses our shared need to come together. Labels that define us too rigidly fall on deaf ears, and stereotypes that caricature us and our friends frustrate us. Instead, we look to what unites us, and there is a lot that does. And we look for a shared vision for the future, an inclusive aspiration. We look to the media and brands to celebrate the values of this inclusive aspiration: authenticity, giving back, community, and graft.